Bob St. Peter is a farmer and seasonal farm worker from Maine, and he raises small livestock, flowers, seeds, and produce. He's a founding member of the Food for Maine's Future, a grassroots organization working to build a just, fair, and sustainable food system in Maine.
So I'm going to address three areas that have taken root this weekend as I'm listening to everybody. The first is I think the fundamental question of identity, in particular self-identification, and the right to determine who it is that we are. It's that right that creates community, that allows us to build community and allows us to seek common cause and work towards the change that we feel is necessary and important. As a brief example, I'm often asked because of my red hair if my family is Irish, and I do have a descendant who came over during the potato famine and settled in Southern Virginia, who had red hair. She married a man who was Cherokee, who actually fought for the Confederacy during the Civil War. So when people ask me that question, I respond by saying I'm as much Irish as I am Cherokee, and that kind of causes some confusion among people. But it's also I want to draw the distinction between genuine self-reflection, self-identification, and cultural misappropriation. Because I would feel equally uneasy identifying with an Irish heritage that I've not embraced as I would my Cherokee ancestry, which I have not embraced because it's socially unacceptable. So this I think is what in my travels and experience with Via Campesina is really what binds everybody. It's this self-identification as people of the land, and by land I also mean of the sea and of the waterway. But that's what binds us, and that's the common cause, and that's how Via Campesina has been able to do what it's been able to do. The second is the rural and urban question that's come up. It's been mentioned a couple times that we need to build rural and urban alliances, and I would agree with that completely. I would qualify that by saying that those relationships have to be more equitable than they have been historically, and that it's important to address the historic occupation of the countryside and the people who reside there. And that involves a critique of civilization on its face. And as more people move into the city, that means there are few people in the countryside. And urban agriculture has an important and strong future, but rural agriculture will continue because of the land base to feed the majority of the population. And so if there are fewer of us in the countryside with more work, we've got two choices. We can either give up and move to the countryside, or we can figure out a way to get the machinery to do that extra work. So we need more people on the land, more people working the land, and more people understanding that there is a historic and historical hole that we have dug for ourselves with this model of shifting people and goods and services into the city at the expense of the countryside. Implicit in this, I think, is the expectation or the assumption that food producers are somehow obligated to serve the needs and desires of everybody else. And with that comes the very real question of who owns the product of one's labor or another's labor, who's entitled to that labor. And I feel like the food movement in this country is unconsciously creating a form of captive labor in a sense. And the question of taste preference is not one to be taken lightly. There has been colonization and very horrific things that have taken place because of taste preferences in this world. And I guess there is some unconscious feeling that if the peasants are feeding themselves and their family and their communities, that what are we going to eat and how am I going to get what I want? And that's a fundamental question that needs to be addressed in the rural-urban context. Finally is a question that was posed for this conference, which is, will food sovereignty have an intellectual future in agrarian studies? And I'm going to have to defer to all of you on that one because I think that's really up to all of you and perhaps the institutions and the foundations who fund your research. I can assure you, however, that the principles of food sovereignty, that the that the anger and the frustration and the pain and the hope that gave birth to or popularized the term food sovereignty, the idea of food sovereignty, is eternal and it's not going away, nor are we going away. Mamadou said yesterday that food sovereignty is interdisciplinary, but it's not theoretical. And I would encourage more people to become food sovereignty practitioners, and as opposed to having the peasants or the food sovereignty folks an object of study. Malik said today that we're all actors with the capacity and the ability to shape our reality, and that is certainly true with the peasants and the people of the land. So, tomorrow, I'll get in late tonight. Tomorrow morning, I will get up and I will tend to my animals and to my food and medicine crops and take care of my family, make sure that I'm a good, supportive spouse and partner, and I'm taking care of my children. And we'll do that again later in the afternoon, or kind of ongoing throughout the day. And in the hours in between, we'll be working within my community and with the people who I work with to ensure that I and others will be able to get up on Tuesday to do the same thing. Thank you.